May 15th, 1945. Camp Atterbury, Indiana. 8:47 a.m. Dust swirls under the tires of a battered Wehrmacht truck as it grinds to a halt at the barbed wire gates. 73 German prisoners stumble out, hollow-cheeked shadows in threadbare uniforms, hands raised against the morning sun. American guards prod them forward with rifle butts, voices barking in clipped English. Amid the shuffle, one figure lags tiny, swallowed by a greatcoat 3 sizes too big, boots flopping like clown shoes on skeletal feet. Private First Class Hinrich Bauer, age 16, no wider than a fence post. His eyes, sunken in bruised sockets, dart like a cornered animal's. The air reeks of diesel and unwashed bodies. A sergeant glances at him, mutters, "Kid's a ghost." No one knows yet how right he is. Captain Robert Morrison, U.S. Army Medical Corps, wipes sweat from his brow in the processing barracks. He's seen 62 prisoners already standard starvation, ribs like piano keys. The usual collapse of the Reich, routine. Scale, stethoscope, delouse, done. Then Henrik shuffles in. Morrison points to the scale without looking up. The needle twitches ... settles. 52 pounds. For a 16-year-old boy standing 5 feet 4, silence crashes like a shell burst. Morrison's clipboard clatters to the floor. Jesus Christ, he breathes. The boy's knees buckle, but he catches himself on the exam table, ribs heaving under parchment skin. You can almost hear the bones grinding. Morrison's hands tremble as he checks vitals. Pulse racing at 140. Blood pressure a whisper 60/40. Skin clammy, cold as death. The boy mumbles something in German. Hunger. Lange Zeit, ... long time hungry. Doctors swarm. Dr. Sarah Chun, the camp's nutrition specialist, pushes through. She peels back the sleeve. Veins like blue rivers under translucent flesh. Abdomen bloated. Legs swollen with edema. Starvation marasmus, she snaps. He's eating his own muscle. How is he even walking? X-rays ordered, blood drawn. The film reveals it. Heart shrunk to half size, lungs shadowed with fluid, bones brittle as chalk. Henrik's body, a machine run on fumes for months' forced marshes. Bread rations gone to rats, the Führer's last desperate levy of children to hold the Rhine. The exam uncovers horrors no one expected. Teeth rotted to black stubs from scurvy. Brain fog so deep he can't recall his own rank. And the kicker, tuberculosis scars, dormant but ready to flare. Chun stares at the scale reading, face ashen. This isn't a soldier. This is a miracle he's alive. Guards outside whisper word spreads like wildfire through the camp. Nurses sneak extra milk, a blanket. Henrik collapses onto the cot, first real rest in a year, as IVs drip life back into veins that forgot what full meant. But questions burn. How did a Berlin schoolboy end up this broken? What hell forged him into this? And will American mercy or indifference be enough? The barracks hum with tension as test results flood in over hours that stretch like days. Henrik's blood work screams deficiency. Protein levels crashed. Vitamins A, C, D vanished. His organs teeter on shut-down liver fatty, kidneys failing. Morrison paces, barking orders for high-calorie slurry, the camp's emergency protocol for the dying. Refeed slowly, Chun warns, or his heart bursts from refeeding syndrome. The boy sips broth, eyes widening at the first taste of real food since the Volga front. You can feel the tremor in his hands, the ache of a stomach shrunk to fist size. Flashbacks hit like shrapnel. Henrik, conscripted at 15 from a Hitler youth camp near Munich, March 1945. Trained on sticks for rifles. Shipped east as cannon fodder in the Ardennes retreat. Weeks of snow-choked marshes. 200 calories a day turnip soup gone moldy. Comrades dropping, eaten by wolves or partisans. He scavenged roots, watched his squad melt away. Surrendered to G is near Remagen, April 45. But the real starvation came in transit. Boxcars without food, guards fleeing bombings. By Indiana, 52 pounds. The doctors marvel. He'd burned 40% body mass, yet his will flickered on. Recovery begins, brutal and slow. Day 3, he stands unaided. Weight creeps to 55. But night terrors grip him. Screams of the Eastern Front echoing in fever dreams. Chun notes it all, her log a testament to inhuman endurance. Boy's spirit outlasted his body. Whispers among Poes. Vispucky the skeleton kid. GI's bet on survival odds. Yet as pounds return, so does awareness. Henrik overhears the prognosis shift from days to weeks. Relief wars with shame. Why save an enemy child? The camp holds its breath. What happens when the frail frame fills out and the war's weight settles? Week 2 dawns humid in Camp Atterbury's infirmary, cicadas droning like distant flak. Henrik sits propped on his cot, cheeks faintly rounding from 62 pounds of forced nutrition cornmeal mush, powdered eggs, the Army's miracle brew. Captain Morrison leans in, stethoscope cold against the boy's chest. Heartbeat steady now, lungs clearing. "You're a fighter, kid," he says in halting German. But Henrik's eyes cloud, distant as the steps he fled. The real exam begins not of flesh, but memory. Through a translator, fragments spill. Volga ... No, Doan River. 1944. Lies at first. Then truth cracks open like a rusted helmet. Dr. Chun records it feverishly. Conscripted October 44, age 15, from a Berlin bakery family shattered by bombs. Hitler Youth to Volkssturm, overnight wooden rifles, 1 potato per day. Shipped to Army Group Center, the meat grinder of Operation Progression. Soviet T-34S roaring through, 400,000 Germans encircled at Minsk. Henrik's unit boys and grandfathers marched 80 miles without water, eating boot leather oiled in urine. Dysentery hit first, then typhus. He buried 17 friends in shallow pits, their faces blue as the snow. "Ate snow, ... snow with blood," he whispers. You can almost taste the metallic grit, feel the frostbite gnaw toes to stumps. By Vistula, down to 70 pounds, scavenging crows shot with slingshots. The camp buzzes with his tail, leaked by orderlies. G is crowd the wire, calling him Kleiner Geist the Little Ghost. Posts in the compound bow heads, even SS hardliners soften. But revelations sharpen. X-rays show healed shrapnel in his thigh from Stalingrad relief. No, a later Heldnigsburg, January 45, where children manned barricades with Panzerfausts. Starved deliberate. Himmler's order, no rations for Volkssturm stragglers. Henrik fled west, dodging Red Army rapists, trading his watch for a crust. Captured by Patton's Third Army near Rhine, then the brutal rail to America 14 days, 1 ladle of slop. Morrison slams his fist. Churchill called it right. These kids paid for the monsters. Nurses smuggled chocolate. Weight hits 68. Strength returns, but so does rage flashes at mess call. Fists clenched. Yet mercy tempers judgment. Chun pushes therapy. Group talks with older Poes who share their own fractures. Henrik draws a skeletal horse, eyes like his own. Muti, he labels it, gone in the rubble. Camp Commandant Colonel Hawley visits, offers apprenticeship in motor pool. War's done for you, son, but night falls heavy. Henrik bolts upright, screaming, "Raus, Ivan kommt." Guards rush, sedatives flow. Doctors debate. PTSD, the invisible wound. Recovery plateaus, body mends, soul frays. Whispers grow. What if he breaks? What secrets does the boy still hoard from the Führer's child army? And across the ocean, does his family even breathe? Month 1 bleeds into sweltering June at Camp Atterbury, fireflies winking through chain link like lost stars. Hinrich Bauer clocks 82 pounds pants cinched with baling wire, face no longer a death mask, but a boy's, freckled and wary. He shuffles to the POW mess, tin tray rattling, amid 2,000 Germans wolfing spam and beans like it's caviar. Laughter echoes, craps games under tables, but Henrik eats alone, eyes on his plate as if it'll vanish. Sergeant Lucas Vogel, a grizzled Wehrmacht vet from his transport, slides in beside him. Eat, Kleiner, ghosts don't fight. Tension coils Vogel's gaze, sharp, probing. You can smell the sauerkraut sweat. Hear forks scrape enamel like teeth on bone. Interrogations ramp up, subtle now. Army Intelligence Captain Ellis probes through translators. Unit rosters, officer names from the East. Henrik clams up at First Loyalty's scar tissue thick. But Vogel whispers warnings. Says spies watch. Talk and your throat opens at lights out. Paranoia grips the boy. He spots shadows in the latrine. Hears boots too close at reveille. One night, scuffle in barracks, 7-2 older pose drag a suspected Gestapo plant to the yard. Fists fly, teeth crack. Guards flood in, batons swinging. Henrik cowers under his bunk, pulse hammering like 44 encirclement. Dawn reveals the beaten man, lips split. Heinrich Müller, Sicherheitsdienst. The camp exhales justice, POW style. Chun notices the relapse. Weight stalls at 85, ulcers flare from stress. Therapy deepens, art sessions yield horrors on paper. Burning villages, a mother's screen silhouette. Ivan ... No, we burned first. He confesses, tears carving tracks in dust. Morrison intervenes, pulls strings for a radio. BBC crackles news of Nuremberg trials, green suicide. Henrik listens transfixed. Führer myth crumbling like stale bread. Bondsform, GI medic Private Kowalski, Polish descent, shares cigarettes and hate for Nazis. Your war's mine too, kid. Motor pool apprenticeship thrives. Henrik wrenches jeeps, grease-blackening nails reborn. Laughter peeks through, rare as rations once were, but fractures spiderweb. A letter arrives, red cross trace. Muti alive in Munich displaced camp, Vader Kia, at Kursk. Joy crashes into grief. He weeps for days, rationing sobs like calories. Vogel corners him. Join us, boy. Real Germans plan ahead when ships sail home. Subversion whispers. Escape tunnels, black market dynamite. Henrik balks, but seeds plant. Doctors clock the shift eyes harden, frame tenses. Recovery teeters. Will the prodigy mechanic bolt for freedom or betray his saviors? What poison festers in the chow line, waiting to bloom? July heat shimmers off Camp Atterbury's tarps like a fever dream. Air thick with coal smoke from the POW kitchen. Henrik Bauer tips the scales at 92 pounds, muscle knitting onto bones. Shoulders broadening under olive drab shirt sleeves, borrowed from the motor pool. He torques a Jeep manifold, sweat beading on a jaw now squared with youth reclaiming its due. Sergeant Vogel lurks at shift's end, breath hot with ersatz coffee. Midnight, barracks 7. The plan unfolds. Henrik nods, gut twisting like barbed wire. Moonless night falls. He slips out, boots silent on gravel. The compound sleeps uneasy snorts of accordions, coughs from typhus holdouts. You can feel the earth's cool breath from the ditch line, where shadows converge. Vogel's cabal huddles in a root cellar, 12 men total. Ex-Luftwaffe navigators. Panzer crew rejects, eyes gleaming with old Reich fire. Blueprints unroll on a crate tunnel from latrine sump, 200 yards to the woods. Dynamite filched from quarry trucks. Patton needs mechanics, Vogel growls. We vanish, rearm west. Henrik's hands shake. He sketches vents, calculates props from fence wire. Memories flood. Minsk breakout attempt, machine gunned in snow. But Vogel's grip tightens, Traitors rot, loyalty a noose. Digging starts at 2 a.m., spoons and bayonets biting clay. Muck cakes fingers, air turns tombstale. Henrik hauls spoil in feed sacks, pulse thundering. A cave-in pins Franz. Legs crushed gasps echo, mercy shot hushed by rags. Dawn patrol nears. They seal it, hearts pounding. Henrik staggers to chow, face gray as the spoil piles hidden in gullies. Dr. Chun spots it. Tremors, appetite crashed. "What's eating you?" She presses in the infirmary. He cracks tunnel confession. Half. "They force me. Home calls." Chun alerts Morrison. No arrests yet. Intel wants the network. Surveillance ramps. G is in mufti. K9 south sniffing perimeters. Henrik thrives in double life. Wrenching tanks by day, tunneling by night. Wait holds. Will Steelens. Vogel tests loyalty. Guard change tomorrow slip the wire? Refusal sparks a slap. Bruise blooming like his old edema. Bonds Frey Kowalski smells sabotage. Pulls Henrik aside. Choose, kid? Chains or wings? Tensions peak at a camp dance pose and WACs swaying to Glenn Miller on phonographs. Henrik watches from shadows. Nudie's letter clutched like a talisman. A scuffle erupts. Dynamite crate rolls from Vogel's bunk during shakedown. Guards swarm. Clubs cracking skulls. Vogel snarls at Henrik, cuffed and dragged. "Judas!" But the boy stands firm. Fingers the wrench in his pocket, a tool, not weapon. Interrogators offer deal. Testify, repatriate early. Chun watches his choice teeter. Will the ghost become hero or fade back to shadows? As irons clang on the cabal, freedom's cost glares. What price for a boy's soul, forged in hell and mercy? August sun beats down on Camp Atterbury's makeshift courtroom like Judgment Day. Dust devils dancing at the gallows scaffold hastily erected beyond the wire. Hinrich Bauer, 98 pounds of taut sinew and flickering doubt, stands scrubbed in a too-big GI tunic, hands clenched behind his back. Colonel Halle presides, face granite under the stars and stripes. Vogel and 9 diggers chained in the dock, eyes venomous daggers. Translator whispers the oath truth for clemency, repatriation by Christmas. Henrik's voice cracks like thin ice. "Yeah." The tunnel. Dynamite for trucks. Gasps ripple. Pose crane necks from the yard. You can taste the sweat salt fear, hear chains rattle like distant panzer tracks. Testimony unspools in raw bursts. Midnight halls, Franz's muffled end. Vogel's threats, deserter blood on your hands, boy. Ellis presses. Why join? Henrik meets his gaze, voice steadying. Fear. Then ... shame. You fed me when Reich starved. Flash to the Rhine crossing Patton's tanks he'd wrenched now, turned against him. Vogel lunges, spittle flying. Lugin. Little rat sells soul for spam. Guards wrench him back. Jury of officers murmurs. Chun testifies next. Psych Evels, the boy's arc from skeleton to sentinel. Trauma's chains broke here, not there. Evidence mounts tunnel mouth exposed. Dynamite traced to black market poles. Verdict looms by dusk. Vogel, 10 years Leavenworth. Others scattered sentences. October winds howl across the Atlantic like vengeful spirits. The C-47 droning west to east, Hinrich Bauer wedged in a jump seat amid crates of spam for Berlin relief. 110 pounds now solid frame under wool greatcoat, courtesy of Morrison's farewell crate. Canned peaches, GI socks, a fountain pen etched survivor. He sketches clouds parting over ruined fatherland, hand steady but heart lurching. Below, Rhine glints like a scar, Remagen Bridge ruins mocking his rail-hell transit. Le Havre looms. Liberty ships crowd the harbor, cranes swinging hose home. Disembark chaos. Shouts in guttural Deutsch, Red Cross nurses doling cocoa. Henrik scans faces no mutie yet. You can smell the gangrene hope, taste salt of tears held back. Munich's displaced persons camp sprawls under Alps shadow, barbed wire a cruel echo of Adterbury. Truck jolts to a halt, October 28th, 4 p.m. Henrik leaps down, knuckle thumping gravel. Moody? Voice raw. 18 months starved of home. A gaunt woman turns eyes widen, then flood. Anna Bauer, 42, rushes, arms crushing ribs once snapped by hunger. Mein Jung. Gott, du lebst. They collapse in dirt, pose averting eyes. Red Cross man snapping photos for tomorrow's stars and stripes. Skeleton soldier reunites. But joy fractures fast. Vader confirmed dead, sister missing in Dresden firestorm. Shack life bites. One room, potato peels stewed endless. Henrik unpacks peaches. Moody weeps its sweetness unknown since 43. Re-entry grinds like rusty gears. Denazification board grills him. Tunnel testimony vouches clean, but whispers linger, American pet. Jobs scarce. He wrenches U.S. aid trucks, grease familiar salve. PTSD flares fireworks mistaken for Nebelwerfers, crowds for Soviet mobs. Moody mends souls with bread. They pray nightly, Führer's shadow shrinking. Christmas 45. Morrison's letter arrives, sponsor offer renewed, farm boy needed. Temptation pulls west again. Henrik weighs it, 120 pounds of choice now his. Anna grips his arm. Stay, rebuild. Berlin trials rage on radio spear repents. Donetsk stone-faced. Henrik tunes in, Vogel's snarl fading. Yet peace eludes. Nightmares blend camps. Adterbury mercy morphs to Munich want. A partisan's scar reaches. Did he burn innocence? Chan's words echo. Forgive the boy who ate snow. Spring 46 buds. J.O.B. at Opal plant steadies him. Moody remarries a baker. Family swells. But across ocean, letters flow Kowalski's cigars, Morrison's harvest photos. Pull of two worlds tugs. Will roots hold in rubble, or call the prodigal back? As iron curtain clangs down, Henrik stands at crossroads. What legacy from 52 pounds of hell? Henrik exhales as the hammer falls guilty. Cheers from GIS, boos from hardliners. Kowalski slaps his back. Man now, not ghost. But night brings reckoning. Solitary whispers snake through vents. You'll float home, Judenfriend. A shank glints in the showers next morn. Henrik dodges, fractures attacker's jaw with a haymaker honed on jeeps. Lockdown grips the camp. Halle fast-tracks release papers. Moody's camp address stamped approved Munich reunion. Stateside sponsor even. Morrison's family farm. Weight surges to 105. Laughter rings true now. Wrench in hand rebuilding a dodge, yet victory bitters. Dreams shift, not Evan's hordes, but Vogel's glare. Chun notes closure's cost. Hero's burden heavier than hunger. As leaves turn gold, his C-47 idles on the airstrip, engines growling promise. Henrik boards last, duffel light, sketchbook, letters, a GI watch. Plane lifts, Midwest shrinking below. Freedom won, but what wars rage inward? Does the survivor carry Führer's echo or America's graft? Home awaits will flesh hold when ghosts howl. Spring 1947 thaws Munich's scars. Cherry blossoms defiant amid bomb craters, but Cold War frost creeps east like Soviet tanks. Hinrich Bauer, 130 pounds of mechanic's muscle, wipes opal grease from calloused hands at shift's end. At shift's end, pay envelope fat with U.S. Marshal plan script. Home smells of fresh rye. Now stepfather's bakery thrives. Moody's laugh rings true. Yet shadows lengthen. Vogel's trial echoes in Guy Welt headlines. Youth trader spills Reich secrets. Old Poes glare in beer halls. One spits Amerikaner Hur as Henrik passes. Night streets turn hostile rocks through windows. Whispers of settle the Judenfriend. You can feel the beer foam rage, taste the bile of lost empire. Sleep fractures. He bolts awake, clutching the GI watch like a shield. Letters from Adterbury pile up, a lifeline across the divide. Morrison. Farm's yours, sun tractors need your touch. Kowalski encloses snapshots polish wedding, kids tugging his sleeve. Chun's note cuts deep. PTSD evolves. Build, don't bury. Henrik pens replies in careful English. Words his second salvation. Denazification clears him fully certificate framed above bunk. Opal promotes. Foreman of Jeep assembly. Irony sharp as shrapnel. Romance sparks Liesel. War widow with toddler eyes like his old hunger. Picnics by Izar, her hand warm in his. You smell of freedom, she murmurs. Family swells. Muty beams at first grandson due autumn. But Berlin airlift rumbles summer 48 Stalin's blockade, chokes the West. Henrik volunteers trucks. Hauls coal through skies thick with C-47's ghosts of his flight home. Soviet patrols probe borders. Whispers of conscription return for Volkssturm too. Liesel begs, go west, before the bear swallows us. Crossroads sharpens Morrison cables visa approval, farm deed waiting. Moody weeps. You've outrun death twice, tempt not thrice. Henrik paces nights, scales tipping. 52-pound ghost versus 140-pound man. Radio crackles Truman doctrine. Iron curtain solidifies. A brick sails through bakery window Vogel loyalists, unbowed. Decision crystallizes at grandson's birth. September rain lashing wards. Tiny fists clench life. Henrik vows roots. Rejects America, burns the D in stove embers. Here we rebuild, he tells Liesel. Voice iron. Opal rises. Bakery chains sprout. PTSD fades to embers therapy groups for returnees. His story steals others. By 50, foreman to manager. House with garden. Morrison visits once. 52 Olympics embrace at airport. No words needed. Ghosts quiet. Legacy shifts from survivor to builder. But in quiet hours, Rhine glints in memory. What if the tunnel led west? As Korea flares, does old hunger stir for new boys? December 1955 blankets Munich in snow like absolution. Street lamps haloed through frost-laced panes of the Bauer's modest villa. 2 stories earned from Opal's boom. Bakery franchise humming downtown. Henrik, 170 pounds of broad-shouldered patriarch at 27. Cradles grandson Carl on his knee, the boy knowing a wooden Jeep replica carved from scrap. Liesel stirs Glowine, scent of cloves chasing winter's bite. Muty knits nearby, stepfather's pipe smoke curling tailies of pre-war Berlin. Radio hums Adenauer's Voice West Germany, joins NATO, Iron Curtain, a scar, not wound. Henrik's eyes trace faded certificate on mantle, honorably repatriated POW. Ghosts whisper faint now, drowned by children's laughter. You can feel the hearth's glow thaw old marrow, taste victory sweeter than spam. Years layer like enamel on rotted teeth. Opal escalates. Henrik engineers assembly lines, patents a torque wrench irony's full circle from starving Volkssturm. Family thrives 3 sons, daughter with Liesel's eyes. Morrison visits yearly. Farm tailies swapped for Autobahn blueprints. Kowalski settles nearby. Polished German fusion barbecues. PTSD embers flare, rarely Korean war news, triggers nights pacing. But group therapy, now led by him for vets, banks the fire. Hunger taught endurance. Mercy, humanity, he tells wide-eyed returnees. Vogel rots in obscurity. Paroled broken 58. Suicide whispers unconfirmed. Nuremberg echoes fade. Henrik testifies once for history books. Voice steady. Reich ate its children. America fed the remnants. Cold War peaks 62 Kuba brink. Berlin Wall snakes up like barbed wire reborn. Henrik watches sons drill in Bundeswehr. heart-clenching. No wooden rifles here, but cycles grind eternal. He lobbies locally youth programs, anti-conscription petitions. Moody passes 65, peaceful. Burial under pines, her hand clasp his anchor recalled. By 70, factory director, knighthood murmurs. Grandkids call him Opa Ghostbuster, tailies sanitized to bedtime legends. Chun's final letter, 68. You prove the scale, wrong body and soul. America pulls, citizenship offered, but roots grip firm. Rhine visits yearly Remagen plaque, honors the bridge, not boys who died holding it. Twilight 85. Henrik retires to Isar cabin. Fly rod in hand 52 pounds, a myth to great-grandkids. Memoirs penned. From Marasmus to Munich, bestseller in vet circles. Wall crumbles 89. He toasts at Brandenburg. Tears for divided youth. Final years mentor refugees, Yugoslav skeletons echo his. Death comes quiet, 92, heart full not shrunk. Epilogue etched on stone. Survived hunger, chose life. Legacy? A nation rebuilt from one boy's improbable spark. No Führer echo, only mercy's graft blooming eternal. The scales verdict? Life wins.